Well, hello everybody. We're back at our live lounge here for BASF at Globe 2020. And I'm here with some great guests, which we will dig a little bit deeper on some of the projects we're doing, and especially here in Vancouver, in the beautiful city of Vancouver. So I'm very excited to introduce Anthony, who is in our blockchain lab out of the San Francisco office for BASF, and also Henry, who is a big partner of ours in this a pilot project, which we'll get into in a little bit. But maybe now for introduction, maybe introduce yourself and what you're doing. Yeah?
My name is Anthony DePrenzio, and I am part of BASF's North American Digital Innovation Team. And like you mentioned, Marcelo, I am responsible for heading our blockchain lab at BASF. So although I work on blockchain, I do work in a number of other areas, focusing on working with innovative technologies like machine learning, AI, AR and VR, you name it. So in terms of the blockchain lab, we actually started about 2 years ago, and the idea was to try and build proof of concept projects within BASF that could leverage this dynamic technology.
Yeah, thanks Marcelo. So Henry Stark, I'm a partner at Deloitte. I lead our sustainability and climate change practice here in Canada. And for us, just partnering with BASF is something great. Just from a Deloitte perspective, circular economy is one of our top 3 focus areas in terms of what we do in sustainability. And in terms of the connection point with BASF, this is just a real, it's an honor for us to be partnering with BASF on this.
Super. And I mean, now to get to the whole story around the pilot project that we are kicking off this week here at Globe 2020.
Sure. So as part of digital innovation at BASF, we're very focused on trying to source interesting projects from our colleagues across our various business units. And so one of our business units located in Brazil approached us with this project that was focused on a new regulation that was being implemented by the Brazilian government, which was requiring brand owners to invest in sustainable initiatives across the country. And the way they were doing that is they actually set up an entire process to generate certificates that essentially represent a certain type of recycled material. So looking at information like, what type, like I mentioned, so plastic, aluminum, paper, and then also providing more information about that recycled material. So where was it recycled, how many tons was recycled, et cetera. And what we realized is that this entire program that was developed in Brazil had a lot of problems because they were using paper certificates, they were being double spent. A lot of the money that was being used to purchase the certificates, which then goes back into sustainability initiatives, it was very hard to trace and prove that the money was being allocated properly and that certain human rights violations weren't happening. And so we basically developed, 1, a platform to sort of digitize this entire process. And then 2, we actually decided to use a blockchain data structure on the back end in order to prevent the double spending problem of the certificates.
Yeah, I mean, this is significant. Obviously, doing this in beautiful British Columbia is fantastic as well. Just quickly on why British Columbia. Obviously, BC is very progressive in terms of its environmental regulations. There's a fully funded EPR program, or Extended Producer Responsibility program here. But you also have a number of retailers and brand owners that are quite mature and innovative right here in this province and in the city of Vancouver. And they're very keen to demonstrate to their customers, their consumers, and to the public at large that they're doing something about plastics.
And I think one of the things that in the discussions we got even more excited is that we are going to be also able in this pilot to introduce a digital tracer technology.
Yeah.
That can not only do that, but also do loop counts, right? Which become a very interesting concept on tracing circularity. And I think what is a bit different than in the Brazilian scenario, where they were playing only in parts of the nodes, this is now really elevating and saying, okay, let's look at the whole thing and really prove that. Yeah?
That's exactly right. Yeah, Marcelo, you're spot on. And actually what Anthony said earlier is key in this whole process. So the concept of traceability, of almost verifiability, accuracy, completeness, and that confidence in the data, the fact that you can actually trace the molecule throughout the chain, I think is key here, because that's the only way you can drive circularity is in a consortium-based approach. So that's definitely exciting. But the technology, I think, is incredible, and to show the art of the possible, because those are the kinds of solutions we need today, given the size of the challenge that exists. But I think what will prevail is openness around this, because it hasn't been done before, and the benefit of getting there, the benefit of a win in this space is significant.
Right.
And just to go off of that, I think one of the unique things about our platform is how we're sort of incentivizing these nodes to sort of provide the right information that we need for this network. And I think the approach that we're taking is something that's unique and that a lot of people haven't really explored before. And
3 to 5 years, where do you see the biggest uses on this, of this technology or this type of database system?
Sure. Yeah, that's a big question, but I think I would say my interest, or where I'd like to see this space going, is using sort of the incentive mechanism side of blockchains to procure data. Because I think the way that we're sort of assessing the global climate situation and
it's all integrated, so we need them.
Yeah, exactly, right? You know, a lot of companies are looking at their sources of data, right, and trying to figure out, like, okay, how can we actually improve our processes to make the environment a better place? But unless you have data from a bunch of external sources and actually compounding that data on top of each other to make better predictions about how we can do better for, you know, the environment and society at large and be more sustainable,